Welcome to the HRKyle Podcast, your go-to source for insightful discussions on leadership, job searching, and all things human resources. I'm your host, HRKyle, and each week we dive deep into topics relevant to professionals seeking to elevate their careers and organizations. Whether you're a seasoned leader, a job seeker navigating the ever-changing landscape of employment, or an enthusiast looking to stay ahead of the curve, this is the podcast for you. Join me as we explore practical strategies, share expert insights, and engage in meaningful conversations that empower you to succeed in today's dynamic workplace. So, adjust your headphones and let's dive in. Welcome to another edition of the HRKyle Podcast. I'm your host, HRKyle. I'm excited about this episode. And again, I know I say that every week, but every week I am excited. But this week, the reason is we're going to do something just a little bit different. Today, I'm inviting a guest interviewer into the studio, and I'll be switching over to that hot seat. Now, the guest interviewer is familiar to me. She's my wife, Becki, or as she prefers to be called, HRKyle Becki. Becki, you're now in charge.
Hi, Kyle. This is going to be fun, something a little different. I know that I first started out with you, maybe your third episode, maybe your first, and now I'm interviewing you, so I'm going to really enjoy this.
Great.
Today, I would like to start out with something that I know is very important to you, the fact that life is a team game. So just start there and ask you questions in that direction.
Perfect.
Can you explain what you mean by life is a team game? And how has this philosophy shaped your personal and professional life?
Yeah, that's a great first question. So to me, life is a team game because nothing that we do, whether it's personally or professionally, happens in a vacuum. It's ultimately influenced and it's contributed to by so many people that are around us. They're actively in our lives. Maybe they're passively in our lives. But we don't go through any single day and anything that we do in our lives that someone else hasn't had an influence or an impact on that each day. Relative to how it shaped my personal and professional life, I approach each situation with that in mind, knowing that it's not just about me. It's not all about me. And that ultimately I'm most successful if I can support the success of those people around me. So it becomes more of an outward focus to say, what can I do for this person? How can I help this other person? And whether that's a challenging situation or it's a happy situation or something that falls somewhere in between, the focus is more on the other person than myself, because again, what I've learned is if that person can be happy, they can be successful, if they can be in a position where they're thriving, then that comes right back onto me.
Right. And what I'm hearing, three points just kind of stood out to me. And I thought instantly the word influence, when you say how it influences and impacts your day and your life. And I know between you and I, we debrief every night, whether it's personal, professional, we debrief with each other, what happened during the day. And we talk about, us being a team, just like what's happening at your workplace.
Absolutely. And just like any team, you have certain teammates that are more critical to your success or they're closer to you and what have you. And we know, because research proves this as well, no one has a greater effect on your success and your happiness in life than your partner. So you're exactly right. That debrief is just as you would do at the end of any sporting event as a team. You get together as a team and you go over how well you did, the things you need to improve on, and so on. So we're doing the same thing in our personal lives, comparing our notes about our day.
Right, exactly. And which leads me, it's a great segue into the second question. How can individuals, we talk about, you and me debriefing and talking about the day, but how can individuals, say in the workplace, apply the team game mentality to their daily lives, especially in that career relationship with others that they work with?
Well, I think it's working to understand the people around you. What are the things that are important to them? What are the ways that they are in their best position to be successful? How can you partner with them to make sure that the entire effort is successful? And I compare it to being in a musical group, to where you're partnering with the other members of the musical group, whether it's playing instruments or it's working on vocals, so that together you have a very good sound that you're putting out. So you're approaching your work life in that same way. You're getting to know and understand those around you, how they work best, their idiosyncrasies and the nuances that come with how they perform their job. And you're working to harmoniously combine with them to put out a very good melody.
Yeah, that's really great. And again, the first thing that comes to my mind when you talk about the musical group, we saw Chicago and Earth, Wind, and Fire this summer, and just how we talked about how they just blended together so well, even the ages that they are, how many different instruments they played, they knew their strengths and weaknesses. And I see that with my fellow coworkers, that I have to understand how they work so that I can help them or not be frustrated with what they're doing or not doing.
Exactly, because if they're successful, they're doing what they should be doing, they're thriving at doing it, and guess what? You're not frustrated. You're able to focus on your own performance.
Right. Yep. So how do you incorporate this concept of life as a team into your leadership and collaboration in your business?
Yeah. So in that case, again, it's an outward focus. If you're leading a team, you as leader are focused on understanding the different pieces of your team. And again, I'll draw the analogy to baseball. And I'm sure we have quite a few baseball fans out there, at least those listening that understand baseball, at least at a basic concept. But on a baseball team, you have a catcher, you have a first baseman, second baseman, shortstop, third base, left field, right field, and center, and then there's a pitcher. And each one of those individuals makes up a piece of that team. Well, you as leader, in this case, if it's a baseball team, you as manager, you are putting those pieces or those individuals in the best position to where they are most successful and ultimately where the team then is most successful. So you as leader of a business or an organization or a department, you're doing the same thing. You're working to understand your employees. What are their knowledge, skills, and ability? What are things that they're really good at? What are some things that they're average at? And what are some things that they need to improve on? And you're taking that information and you're giving them assignments, you're giving them projects, you're looking at your goals for your team for the year, and you're seeing where each member of that team can support those goals. So again, you've got that outward focus. So you're focusing on where that person is most successful and ultimately that contributes to the goal. Well, when it comes to collaboration in my business, I'm looking to do the same thing. I'm looking and saying, what are things that I'm really good at? And I'm seeking out partnerships with either individuals who might be part of the business who are better at certain things than I am, or I'm identifying organizations that need the expertise, the knowledge, skills, and experience that I provide, and I'm looking to collaborate with them. And then as part of that as well, I'm looking to make sure that there's a good cultural match, because I'm expecting that partner, as I am, to be respectful and understanding and exercising a level of empathy as well. So there's an understanding not only of the hard skills, but for lack of a better term, the soft skills.
Yeah, and I love the baseball analogy. And you and I talk all the time that we use analogies when we're talking about situations, again, personally or professionally. And I'm envisioning using, like, if you with your staff, not yours specifically, but with a staff, to set them up as a baseball field. And if you're in the right situation, you possibly could even move those people around to different places. Your center field people, your infield people, moving them around to different bases per se.
Yep. Well, exactly right. Because you understand them enough to know, okay, she's a star, quote unquote, center fielder, but you know what? She's still really good in left field if we need her there. And she's really good in right field as well. So I've got some flexibility with my team, but then I've got this individual over here who's on my team. You know what? They can really only play center field. So I can't really use them in right. I can't really use them in left. So I'm going to put this person in center field for the time being, and this person is going to be in left. Well, you could do the same thing with a project. You've got an individual who's high on technical skills, but they also have the leadership skills. Then you've got another member of the team who is high on the technical skills, but they just don't quite have the leadership skills. Well, you know what? You can put that first person in that leadership role over that project because they've got the leadership skills. And they've got certainly good technical knowledge, but you can put that technical knowledge person on the team. They can be the subject matter expert, and those two people play off of each other really well because you're high on subject matter expert and you're high on leadership as well.
Yeah, and just this aspect of like a team game, instead of using the words being team players, just using that phrase that I like that so much better than being a team player.
Yeah, team player, and unfortunately, that's been used so much that it almost feels derogatory. It's like
Right.
you're scolding someone. Becky, I need you to be more of a team player.
Right.
It's not used where it should be. But you're exactly right. If you think of it, if you approach your work situations in your personal life to say life is a team game, it becomes not only more productive, but it becomes easier. Just like in your everyday life when you're stuck in traffic and someone's looking to merge, you know what? Is it really a big deal to slow down or stop and let that person get in front of you? Because otherwise, traffic's going to have to stop completely. They're going to be stuck and so on. But by letting them in front of you, maybe that keeps traffic flowing more. Maybe they think about that the next time and they let someone else into traffic. So it can have that domino effect, one, but it can have so much more of a positive effect on your life and just your daily endeavors.
Right. And going back again to the workplace, using it as life is because when I think of game, I think of fun.
Right.
And making work fun.
Well, I'm going to make a shameless plug here for a minute, but you're exactly right. My most recent book is called Get the Job You Love. And if you do something that you love, it is going to be fun for you. So if that's the other key thing here, if you're in a job that's not fun, that you're not enjoying, it's time to take a step back and say, maybe I'm just not on the right team here.
Well, Kyle, we're going to take a little break right now. You're listening to the HRKyle podcast, and I'm your guest host, HRKyle Becki.
Greetings, I'm Kyle Smith, and I'm here to offer you a speaking experience that goes beyond the ordinary. With a rich background in leadership, HR, and personal development, I bring a unique blend of expertise and passion to every presentation. Whether it's Leadership Unleashed, well-being at work, or career mastery, I delve into topics that empower individuals and organizations to reach their fullest potential. What sets me apart? Proven expertise, an engaging delivery style, and actionable insights that drive positive change. But here's the kicker. I don't just offer a one-size-fits-all approach. I customize my content to meet the specific needs and goals of your event. So let's elevate your event together. Contact me now to reserve your date and unlock the full potential of your audience and organization. Don't miss out on the opportunity to inspire greatness. Visit HRKyle.com today.
Are you a business owner looking to build a thriving team? Or perhaps a job seeker on a quest for your dream career? Look no further than HRKyle. HRKyle is your trusted partner for all things human resources. We're not just about services, we're about success. For businesses, HRKyle offers tailored HR solutions from talent acquisition to compliance support. We're here to help your team flourish. And for the job seekers, HRKyle provides personalized career guidance and direction that only a seasoned HR professional can offer. We'll help you find that perfect job match. Don't settle for less. Choose HRKyle and unlock success today. Visit us at www.hrkyle.com
www.hrkyle.com. HRKyle, unlocking potential, empowering careers, transforming business.
Okay, we're back. I hope you enjoyed that break. Kyle, we're going to continue just kind of on the same wavelength here with a few more questions, if you're good with that.
Yep, let's keep doing it. I'm enjoying this.
So in your work with HR, human resources, and leadership consulting, how do you encourage organizations to foster that team-oriented culture?
Well, a big part of it is using these stories, using these analogies, because what I've found in all the work that I do, no matter who it is, stories and analogies resonate with people. And what they also do is it demonstrates that what you're saying is in fact true. It's not a baseless claim. It's something that you've seen work before. You know it can work. And when you're able to give examples from, say, the sports world or some other type of team environment, people get those stories. They can relate to them because it conjures up an image in their mind of what success looks like from a team perspective. So it really does start with those stories, with those analogies, and people begin to, quote unquote, get it from that standpoint, because we know, there's a lot of cliches out there, 1 + 1 = 3 and different ones like that. But in a real sense, those things are true. Working together as a team has proven time and again throughout the history of mankind that is the best way to get things done.
Exactly. And I mean, as you know, my background is education, and that's what we strived for, to get students to work in teams, in groups, because rarely do you work on your own individually without other people working with you.
Well, thank you, because that's exactly right. Rarely do you in life work on your own for anything. And quite ultimately, you don't. There's not one thing that any of us can name that we do in life that we've done on our own. There's some person at some point in time that has contributed to where we are or what it is that we're working on.
So along those lines, what are some common challenges that people will face when they're trying to adopt a team-based approach?
Well,
and how can they overcome those?
Yeah, great question. A couple of things, so often we're conditioned, especially in the business world, to be selfish, to be focused on just myself and what does this mean to me and how can I get ahead. So one of the biggest things to overcome is this idea that it's okay to support other people. You take the focus off you. You'll be just fine. If we all approach this situation with that mindset, we'll be fine. So that's a big part of it, just helping people understand that it's okay to let it be about somebody else. It doesn't always have to be about you, because again, unfortunately, what I found in a lot of business situations is we're conditioned to be focused on ourselves. What does this mean to me? How can I get ahead? Am I going to get a raise? Am I going to get a job change, a job title change, a promotion, all of these things? So it really does start with saying these concepts work. It's okay to be this way. And, get out of your comfort zone a little bit. And again, what's the worst that can happen if you approach a situation with the other person in mind? Is it really that bad if that person succeeds and they're successful and they feel good about themselves? Is that such a bad thing to have someone have that feeling? And maybe you don't. Maybe you go through the situation and it's like, okay, I did this, I'm not feeling anything really great about this, but I did it and it's done and we got the job done. Is that such a bad thing? I don't think so.
No. And again, perfect examples in my job. I've been there just a little over a year in the job I'm in now. And I have two of my coworkers. One's been there about 6 months, one about 3 months. 3 or 4 months, and both of them are kind of struggling with paperwork that we're doing. And they're coming to me, I've only been there a year, but they're coming to me and asking questions. And I don't say to them, no, I can't help you, sorry, I'm busy right now. I say, what can I do? Tell me what I can do to help you right now. Or, I'm not looking for praise or anything like that. So that's a great approach to what you're saying.
Well, and I think the other thing you come to find out is when you approach others that way, they tend to be more inclined to approach you that way in the future. So at a point when you need some help or you need an extra set of hands or you need someone to bounce an idea off of or whatever, they're much more likely to be there. And in fact, what I've seen is they're much more likely to see it or to see that need that you have before you even ask them for help. So we tend to foster that mentality just by our behaviors. And, there's an old saying from Gandhi, be the change that you want to see in the world. And I think that's part of what we're talking about with this question about, how can you overcome this challenge of being resistant to this? Well, evidence proves to us that a lot of times if we want to see change, we got to start the change first.
Exactly. Perfect. So you had mentioned your latest book, Get the Job That You Love.
Yeah.
Can you share with us at this time any stories from the book or your career that illustrate the power of teamwork and how it leads to greater success and fulfillment? You've kind of touched on that already, but if you can give us a few more examples, that'd be great.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of them, but there's one that sticks out in my mind because it indirectly involves me, and that's what I love about it. So I have HRKyle. I'm also an HR professional. I'm head of HR for a consumer products company in the Akron area. And as part of that role, and one thing I always talk about with recruiting is you've got to advance your employment brand. You've got to make sure the community knows about you. Recruiting isn't always about transactional. It's about getting your name out there and so on. And again, promoting that employment brand. So as part of that, I like to give area companies a tour of my facility and help them understand who we are, what we do, what we look like. And as part of those tours, it's not uncommon for that person or persons at the end of that tour to say, wow, I really love what you're doing here. This is fantastic. By the way, I've got so-and-so who's my brother, a friend, neighbor, whatever it is, and they're actually looking for a new job. May I send them your way? That happens frequently. And I could give you several examples. I'm going to give you one right now. I had that happen. And the gentleman said, I've got this employee who works for us. His fiance is graduating in a couple of months. She needs a job. Could I forward you her resume? And I said, absolutely. In fact, I'll do you one better. I'll talk to her now. We don't have anything open, but I'll talk to her now because that'll allow me to get a chance to know her and understand her and what she's looking to do and her skill set and so on. So we did that. Fast forward about 4 months. We had an opening come open in our company. The first person I thought of was this young lady. Within about 8 days, we had made an offer to her and she'd accepted the position. That's the epitome of life as a team game. I'm partnering with this other company to get to know each other a little bit better, take them on a tour, build a relationship with them with no expectations of anything. I just want to help them understand us, and I want to understand who they are and what they're about more as well. So it's simply a getting to know you and how can we support each other. Well, through the course of that, they make this referral of this person, and within a few months, I'm hiring that person, so it helps me, it helps my company, but it also helps that person who's a new graduate, who it's a little tough of a job market. We all know that. And it also helps his employee because they've now, the young man and the young lady are married and they've been able to start their life. So here's this whole domino effect that I'm talking about that began with me and this other company getting together and taking a tour of my facility and talking about the things that we do and getting to know each other a little bit better. That is the epitome of life as a team game.
Yes, and I think, again, a couple things that you mentioned and just the analogy part of it. I'm a huge baseball fan, so knowing this with, again, talking about baseball, and you could be the president of the team, and you're always looking to the future. Mm-hmm. You're always, quote unquote, recruiting, even if you're not looking to hire somebody at that time. So you're always playing the game and you're always looking at your team and towards your team to build it. That's fantastic.
100%. And I'll tell you, I'll give you another sports example. Most people listening have probably heard of Michael Jordan. Well, Michael Jordan came into the NBA in 1986. And for the first several years of his career, as great as he was, and my gosh, he out of the gate was a great player in the NBA. But as great as he was, his teams were not getting far into playoffs, and they most certainly weren't winning titles. But with Phil Jackson, who became their coach at a point after Michael Jordan had been there for a few years, Phil Jackson came on board and he sat down and he talked with Michael about the value of building a team around Michael.
Right.
And as soon as they put those principles in place, 6 championships occurred between the Michael Jordan led Chicago Bulls. So there again, there's that team concept, that life is a team game. You could be as great as Michael Jordan, who is arguably the greatest NBA player of all time. But unless you buy into the team concept and realize that you still need others around you playing their roles and doing what they do well, until you do that, you are not going to reach the ultimate in your particular career. And in this case, the ultimate is winning an NBA title. And again, once he realized that, guess what? 6 titles in 6 years. And there were a couple of years in between there where he took off. So it was literally 6 titles over 6 seasons.
Well, this has been a very enlightening discussion, and I'm so happy to have had the opportunity to host this tonight, Kyle, especially with that life being a team game theme. At this point, I'm going to turn it back over to Kyle.
Okay. Well, Becki, thank you very much. And you did a great job. People are going to listen to this and they're going to say, gosh, from now on, let's have HRKyle Becki run the show. So we'll have to see about that.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't think you're averse to that, so we might have to look into that.
Right.
But again, Becki, thank you for taking over the host role. Thank you for providing me an opportunity to talk about something that means a lot to me and it's important, and to share my thoughts around that. Listeners, I want to thank you as well for tuning in as you do and being loyal to us from a week-to-week standpoint. If you're not liking or following us, please take a moment to do that. That helps us an awful lot, but it also helps you to stay up to date on the latest episodes and what we've got going on out there. And follow us on whatever your favorite platform is. We're out on several different podcasting platforms, so definitely follow us there. But again, thank you for tuning in today. Always great to have you listen in. And I just want to say one other thing. Stay focused, stay grounded, and of course, stay tuned. Well, that's a wrap for today's episode of the HRKyle podcast. We hope you found our discussion valuable and filled with insights that you can apply in your professional journey. Whether you're a business leader aiming to foster a thriving workplace or a job seeker looking to carve out your own path, remember that HRKyle is the compass that can guide you towards success. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and share it with your network. We're committed to being your trusted source for HR wisdom, and we look forward to having you back with us for our next episode. Remember, in the world of HR and professional growth, there's always room for progress. Be sure to visit our website at HRKyle.com. That's HRKyle.com. to learn more about how we can help you meet your business and professional goals. So until next time, this is HRKyle signing off. Stay motivated, stay informed, and keep reaching for those career goals. Music provided by bensound.com. That's bensound.com.